Hi, I'm Jamie, and I am a processed food addict. Welcome back to my channel. I'm glad you're here. It's been a few weeks since I've been on, and it's been a little crazy here at home with a project we've been working on. But I wanted to come in and just talk about something that I was reflecting on earlier today, um, and that is really around food tastes and preferences. Um, right now, in my journey, I have found a whole food, plant-based lifestyle that I really, really love. And that lifestyle, any whole food lifestyle, incorporates a lot of vegetables and a lot of fresh, whole fruits and produce as well. And so it's so interesting because I was thinking about it earlier when I was a little girl. There was a joke in my family when people would ask me, Jamie Lynn, what's your favorite vegetable? I would just look at them with all seriousness and just say, well, it's popcorn. And I thought, I'm checking the box with that veggie, no problem. And they would laugh and I would think, oh, there's nothing funny about that. It's corn, it's popped, it's my favorite vegetable, done. And it was also the only one that I would ever eat. I hated anything green, anything red, anything yellow, other than popped popcorn, apparently. Um, and I was very averse, right? So those food addiction tendencies were starting to take hold back then. And they were kind of steering me away from the fresh, whole foods and more towards the processed stuff. And those processed things, they were brown, they were bright orange. They were filled with red dye, number 40, you name it. If it didn't look natural or like it came from a plant or like it came from nature, I wanted to eat it. And my preferences and my tastes were so limited. And I know that I certainly will find good company now. If I was a kid, there's lots of kids out there who have similar preferences. But I just reflected on how important it is that our tastes change, and how important it is as a food addict that we understand that as we devolve into our addiction, as we devolve, our preferences devolve with us. So our preferences get smaller and smaller and smaller. Our taste gets smaller and smaller as we become more picky about the types of foods and the types of processed foods that we need to sort of get that hit. They really have to be not only filled with fat, sugar, and salt, but they also have to have a flavor that is so far from natural food, just to sort of stimulate those addictive pathways in our brain. So as I healed from my addiction, I found my way back towards more whole natural foods. I found just such freedom in knowing that my tastes were changing for the better, even though at first it didn't feel that way. At first it felt like this food is so bland, it doesn't taste right, it doesn't have enough salt, it doesn't have enough sweetness, and it certainly doesn't have enough of that mouthfeel that I'm used to from processed food, right? So coming off of the processed foods and going more towards the natural foods, it was a learning curve for my taste buds. Just like when I was a little girl, it was such a foreign concept to me to have any kind of fruit or vegetable. Back then, it was a learning curve for my taste buds too. So, I wanted to come in and talk about it because I really feel like it's a topic and that some folks, including me, had a lot of shame around, and maybe you still do. And that's okay. Our taste buds, the beautiful thing about our taste buds and any parts of our bodies and brains when it comes to food, we adapt. We adapt in all ways to the foods, whether we're going into the addiction and into the addictive foods or coming out of the addiction and out of the addictive foods. Our bodies and our taste buds adapt. Give it upwards of 2 to 4 weeks for them to truly adapt. And certainly as we adapt off of sodium and added salts, that will take the higher end of that range for our bodies and taste buds to adapt to less salt in our food. But overall, knowing that we can move away from those highly processed, chemically laden, and engineered foods that trigger our brains to crave more. We can move away from those to the natural foods that our bodies and brains know exactly what to do with and don't get triggered into the craving cycle or into the overeating cycle. It's just such a game changer. So I say all this to tell you that if someone like me, who was a 8-year-old staunch advocate of popcorn, can turn around 30 plus years later and love just about every vegetable that she tries, and be totally willing to try whole food options that are available to me in pretty much any category. I'm very, very grateful that my taste buds have adapted, and I'm here to tell you that it's very possible for yours to do so too. We are all immensely capable of change. And I just think that's one of the most beautiful things about recovery from an addiction like this, is that we don't know how capable we are for change until we really open ourselves up to it and let our bodies and minds and hearts and spirits take over from there. The outcomes are immensely rewarding. So thanks for stopping in. Good to see you, and I'll see you soon.